Making headlines at 6, abortion rights on the line as the U.S. Supreme Court begins hearing arguments on Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban. The High Court's decision could have nationwide implications. Coming up, we're live from Mississippi's last abortion clinic, which is at the center of this national debate.
An FDA panel endorses the first antiviral COVID-19 treatment as health experts work to learn more about the potentially high contagious Omicron coronavirus variant, and Republican lawmakers continue their push against federal vaccine mandates. We'll have the latest on the pandemic as we continue tracking COVID-19.
Don't start shopping without a holiday budget. I'll show you how to create one and stick to it in just a bit.
3 on your side. WLBT Morning News at 6 starts now.
The nation's highest court is set to take on the most significant abortion rights case in the last 3 decades.
It started here in Mississippi, and it could overturn Roe versus Wade. 3 on your side's Ashley Gardner is tracking the latest developments in a live report. Ashley, good morning.
Hey, good morning. In just a few hours, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments in this abortion case. Again, that begins this morning. The state's only abortion clinic here in Jackson behind me is at the center of this case, and abortion rights across the country are on the line. Mississippi is asking the court to overturn Roe versus Wade, which legalized abortion nationwide. Justices will hear from both sides on the Mississippi law that would ban most abortions at 15 weeks. The law was passed back in 2018, but lower federal courts have blocked it. Now, advocates from both sides of the debate are preparing to watch the arguments this morning as they are delivered. Pro-life groups like Students for Life are partnering with the Attorney General's office for a watch party in Jackson this morning. There's also a rally this afternoon in downtown Jackson. Advocates say that while they're hopeful that the case will result in Roe versus Wade being overturned, they don't believe that that will be the end of the work. Now, both sides are issuing a call to action ahead of the case.
It's really sad because abortion is healthcare and abortion is essential. And, all of this, this fervor in working so diligently to close down a clinic that provides, healthcare, medical care. And we in Mississippi have been in an abortion desert for some time.
We know that abortion doesn't solve any solutions for women. And so we've been preparing real solutions through our initiative with Standing With You, through supporting pregnancy resource centers and help organizations across the country.
Now, over the last few days, Governor Tate Reeves has been speaking publicly defending the Mississippi law, which is being challenged. He's also argued for an end to all abortions. Again, those oral arguments on the Mississippi abortion law is set to begin this morning. That's in D.C. It starts at 9 o'clock. We, of course, will be following this case closely, keeping you updated here on air and online at WLBT.com. Live in Jackson, Ashley Garner, 3 on your side.
All right, Ashley, both of Mississippi's Republican U.S. senators are pro-life. On Capitol Hill Tuesday, Cindy Hyde-Smith and Roger Wicker said they are proud of Mississippi for bringing this case to the Supreme Court.
This case presents a once-in-a-generation opportunity for the court to reconsider decades of misguided abortion law that began with Roe versus Wade and has continued under Planned Parenthood versus Casey.
I can tell you millions of Americans are praying today for our country. They're praying today for the Supreme Court. They'll be given wisdom, that they'll be given courage, and that they make a decision for life.
Senator Hyde-Smith is expected to participate in a rally this morning outside the Supreme Court as oral arguments get underway.
Meanwhile, President Biden is keeping a close eye on those developments today. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says in a statement the president, quote, believes Mississippi's law plainly violates women's constitutional right to safe and legal abortions and presents a grave threat to women's fundamental rights, unquote. We will go live to Washington in our next half hour. Arguments in this case begin this morning at 9 o'clock, and we'll continue to bring you the latest updates on air and online at WLBT.com.
And more breaking news, abortion advocates turned out in droves in front of the U.S. Supreme Court after a report indicating that justices are poised to overturn the landmark Roe versus Wade decision that legalized abortion nationwide. It comes months after justices heard arguments on Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban.
And as more Republican-led states pass similar laws, 3 on Your Side's Ashley Garner is joining us this morning at the Jackson Abortion Clinic at the center of this case. Ashley, good morning.
Hey, good morning. That's right. Abortion rights are on the line, and it could impact the state's only abortion clinic here. Now, this leaked opinion claims that justices could overturn Roe versus Wade. Now, that legalized abortion nationwide. News of the leak came last night from the website Politico, reporting it obtained documents from a person familiar with the court's proceedings. Those documents were labeled a first draft of the opinion in the case that challenges Mississippi's ban on abortion after 15 weeks. The news agency's Politico reports it obtained an initial draft opinion written and signed by Justice Samuel Alito, who said in part, quote, Roe was egregiously wrong from the start, and we hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled, end quote. Now, a statement released from the Center of Reproductive Rights says, we don't know if the document as reported by Politico is legitimate, and we don't know if it represents the views of a majority of the Supreme Court. What we do know is that if SCOTUS overturns Roe, it will be an unjustified, unprecedented stripping away of a guaranteed right that has been in place for nearly 5 decades. It would represent the most damaging setback to the rights of women in the history of our country. Now, also, Attorney General Lynn Fitch responded saying, we will let the Supreme Court speak for itself and wait for the court's official opinion. Justices heard oral arguments in this case, Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, back in December of last year, and the court's decision would not be finalized until it is officially published. We, of course, will keep you updated on this case. For now, reporting live in Jackson, Ashley Garner, 3 on Your Side.
We have got a look at Washington this morning, where furious Senate Democrats vowed yesterday to use the legislative process to protect abortion access for millions of Americans. Amid fallout from a leaked draft Supreme Court opinion, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the conservative justices misled the Senate during confirmation hearings when they said they considered Roe versus Wade to be settled law.
Several of these conservative justices, who are in no way accountable to the American people, have lied to the U.S. Senate, ripped up the Constitution, and defiled both precedent and the Supreme Court's reputation, all at the expense of tens of millions of women who could soon be stripped of their bodily autonomy.
Several GOP lawmakers have expressed concern over where the leak came from. They're now demanding answers and pushing for punishment.
I hope that the leaker, who is extremely likely to be found given the limited number of people who have the ability to access early drafts of opinions, will be dealt with as severely as the law may allow.
Supreme Court officials said yesterday the document is not final. The highly anticipated opinion is expected to be among the last issued this term. That would be in either late June or July. Well, the abortion case at the center of the current controversy is a Mississippi law known as the Gestational Age Act.
It prohibits abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. The bill's co-sponsor, GOP State Representative Carolyn Crawford of Pass-Christian, says if the Mississippi law is upheld and Roe is overturned, state lawmakers could take things a step further.
We have our heartbeat bill that was passed, and if it is overturned, that bill will go into effect. That there would prohibit abortion after a heartbeat was detected, and I think also that we would probably take it further and ban it altogether.
Demonstrators gathered Tuesday outside the state's only abortion clinic in Fondren. For now, it is operating as normal, but its director is already taking steps to move the clinic to New Mexico. People outside are sharing their thoughts on the case, putting Mississippi in the spotlight.
We pray that it will go through in a timely manner, because every time and every day they linger and this doesn't pass on through and not be held up and different ways that babies will be killed.
Human rights and women's bodies belong to themselves. So reproductive decisions are decisions that are made by a woman with her family and with her physician, and that's the only place those decisions should be made.
There will be much more about this on the Today Show beginning at 7 here on WLBT.
New this morning, a Louisiana House committee has voted to make abortion a crime of homicide.
Under that state legislation, any woman who ends her pregnancy could be charged along with anyone helping her. The bill also declares that any federal law, regulation, or court ruling that allows abortion is void, and that any judge who blocks enforcement of the bill's provisions could be impeached. The hearing comes after the leak of a Supreme Court draft opinion indicating the court is ready to strike down abortion rights nationwide. The bill's supporters declared that their legislation would outlaw abortion even if the High Court does not reverse Roe versus Wade. Louisiana already has a trigger law criminalizing abortion if that happens.
And it would sentence doctors or others who perform abortions up to 10 years in prison. That law does not call for the prosecution of a pregnant woman. Now, Mississippi has its own version of a trigger law that would ban abortions in the state if and when Roe v. Wade is overturned. The law gives the Attorney General 10 days from a Supreme Court ruling to certify that Roe has been struck down. The law includes exceptions for rape and preservation of a mother's life. Abortion rights groups tell us they have been organizing to figure out how to help women who want to cross the state lines to get an abortion if the court overturns Roe.